All right, Accuplacer testes. Here's the sample questions I'll go over with you. I'm not sure if it works the same way with this new generation about the first 4 questions, but let's just start going through. Which of the following expressions is 5 times as much as the sum of r plus s? So it's going to be 5 times more than the sum of r plus s. So first we need to know what is the sum of r plus s, or this is more of a maybe what it looks like to me is it's more of a order of operations questions. It wants to figure out if you know what to do first, multiply or add. So here, if we just look at this straight with no parentheses, you're going to multiply 5 times r and then add s. And what's that going to be is only 5 times r. But it says 5 times the sum of r plus s. So we have to look for in which of these questions are we going to add r plus s first and then multiply that by 5. And the only place that that happens is in this last one, D. So the answer is actually D, right? R plus s, and then that's the sum, and then we multiply that sum times 5. So I think that's what this question is getting at. So I want to put a star since I kind of highlighted all over. But it's actually getting at, do you know the order of operations? Do you know how to add r and s first before you multiply by 5? So I bet it's going to be a different question on the test, but it'll probably want to get to know how you feel about order of operations. Question 2, what is the solution to the equation 1/2 x plus 3/2 times x? So you guys can always utilize putting the answers back into the equations, or what I would do for this one to make it go faster is multiply the entire equation by 4. And I'm going to do that to get rid of all of the fractions because fractions are just going to freak me out a little bit more, or anybody out a little bit more. So let's just multiply by 4. And I chose 4 because all of the denominators can go into 4. They're all factors of 4. 2 can go into 4, 2 can go into 4, and 4 can also go into 4. So, 1/2, I'm just going to distribute that. 1/2 of 4 is going to be 2x, right? So that's going to be the first thing. And then plus 4 times 3 over 2. So what that's going to look like, you guys, if you want to see, I'll bring it out over here. 4 is really 4 over 1 times 3 over 2. And you can cancel this 4 and this 2, and the 2 turns into 1, but the 4 turns into 2. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, 2 can go into 4 twice, and 2 times 3, the numerator, is 6. So that's going to be 6 times x plus 1 minus, and then 1/4 times 4 just becomes 1 equals 5. I don't mean to just put 5 there, duh, because we still have to multiply that by 4. So equals 20. And then quickly combine your like terms. So 2x and 6x is 8x. Positive 6 and negative 1 is just plus 5. Equals 20. Subtract 5. We get 8x equals 15. And then so divide both sides by 8 and you get x equals 15 over 8. Right? And can you reduce that? No, it doesn't matter. Just see right here, 15 over 8. All right. Whoops. Sorry, you guys. All right. 3, what is the number of kilograms in 5? What is the number of grams in 500 kilograms if every 1 kilogram is 1,000? So you're just going to have to take if 1 kilogram is 1,000 and they give us 500 kilograms. So look, grams, there was more of them than kilograms. So if I have kilograms, I know I'm going to need more, and I know I'm going to need 1,000 times more, right? So you could also think about it as a ratio. 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. And what about if I have 500 kilograms? How many grams would that be? Right? And you can think of it as, well, to get from this 1 to this 500, I have to multiply by 500, right? So that's what I'm going to do here. And when you're multiplying two numbers that end in a bunch of zeros, you multiply the first parts, okay? So 1 times 5 is 5, and then I have, let's see how many zeros. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So we're going to have a 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So 500,000. All right, question number 4. It's going to want you to read a graph. Robert sells 4 different flavors of jam at an annual farmer's market. The graph above shows the number of jars of each type of jam. Which flavor of jam had the greatest increase in number of jars sold from year 1 to year 2? So what we're looking for is it had the greatest, which I want to highlight. Flavor had the greatest increase from year 1 to year 2. So we want our year 1 to be smaller than our year 2, right? So that cancels out strawberry, cannot be strawberry. Okay. And it wants the greatest difference. It wants the biggest space in between year 1 and year 2. It looks like it's going to be blueberry. Doesn't have my favorite there, which is blackberry, and blueberry jam seems kind of weird. But anyway, there you go. What did we say? Blueberry. Boom. All right, 5. In the xy plane, a line crosses the x-axis at the point 0, 3. So that is, if it crosses the y-axis at 0, 3, that's going to be our y-intercept. So that means it could be this one, it could be this one. So it could just be A or B. So we're just going to pick one of those. And it goes through the point 4, 5. So we just need to figure out the slope, right? So we have 2 points. We have 0, 3, and we have 4, 5. And the slope is the change in y, right, over the change in x. So our change in y, if we start at 3 and we go to 5, we are changing positive 2. And if we start our x's, I'm sorry, did I say y? That was our y's. If we look at our x's, we go from 0 to 4, so that's 4. So it's going to be 1/2. So it's going to be A. All right. The amount of money in dollars, money in dollars, Paul earns can be represented by the equation. Always pay attention to the equations. 12.5. So he earns $12.50 per hour plus $11 for whatever. So the amount of money in dollars, the total amount of money in dollars Paul earns after working H hours. This could be it. Paul earns after working 1 hour. Total amount of money Paul earns after working H hours. No, it's not just for 1 hour. It's for, so it's not going to be C. It's not going to be A. The amount of money in dollars, I'm reading D now. The amount of money in dollars Paul earns in addition to an hourly wage. No, that would just be the 11. So the answer is B. We were right the first time. The total money in dollars he makes after working H hours. So what we needed there was he makes $12.50 per hour plus $11 for whatever. I don't even know what that means. Like he could make it just for coming to work. You get $11. I don't know where they got that. Or how much he sells or something. I'm not sure. But it looks like the first one, it's the amount of money he makes each hour, but that doesn't take into account. That would just be the 12.5. A is not taking into account the 11. C, it was only saying working for 1 hour. No, H means any amount of hours. And D says the amount of money in dollars Paul earns in addition to an hourly wage. D is only talking about the number 11, so it has to be B. All right. 7 looks like it wants us to read a table. The table gives the population of the 5 largest countries in Europe in the year 2014. Which of the following is closest to the mean populations of this country? So to find the mean, you just add them all up and divide how many there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So look, let's see if we can cancel anything out. It's not going to be A because that's the highest. That's not going to be the mean, right? And then what are our other numbers? Maybe we could figure it out without doing the math. We'll do the math just to check. But we have a 65 and an 80 and a 60 and a 46, which is, they pretty much seem to be above and below the same amount of the middle, which is 64.3. 64.3 is definitely the median, but I don't know if it's the mean. So let's just double check ourselves by adding them all up and dividing. I'm not sure if you can use a calculator here, probably, but adding them all up and dividing by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But let's just use the calculator here. 65.9, 80.8, 1. Okay. 65.9 plus 80.8 plus 60.8 plus 46.5 plus 64.3. So I'm going to enter here. You have to enter before you divide because I didn't use parentheses. Enter and then divide by 5. 63.66. So it's going to be C. Question 8. Look, we're like almost halfway done, I think. Which of the following fractions is equivalent to this? So I think what they want you to see here is that if you have a negative and a negative, we're going to get adding. That's going to add. So -6 plus 9 is going to be +3 over 8. So B. So I think that's what it wanted to see if you knew that minus a negative was going to give you a positive. Question 9. Water runs from a pump at a rate of 1.5 gallons per minute. So 1.5 gallons per minute. At this rate, how long will it take to fill a tub with 150 gallon capacity? So if it's 1.5 gallons per minute and it wants to know how long it will take to fill 150 gallons, I think instead of doing this, I'm just going to set up a ratio, 1.5 over 1 over gallons for 1 minute is equal to, we want to know how many minutes, so my question mark minutes is going to be down here, and it's going to be 150 gallons up here. So first of all, we need to figure out 1.5 times what is going to be 150. And they look like a similar number, except I've moved the decimal point 2 times to get 150. So I know that means I'm just going to multiply by 100. So I need to multiply the denominator by 100, and 1 times 100 is just 100. Oh, it's 14. I'm going to stop here. So first video, questions 1 through 9.